Hello guys, in this video I'm going to add a new character to the game. Also I am going to add some editor code in order to control our weapon and character settings. Before we do anything, we need to download the last version of the server and client projects of the real-time networking. I have made major changes which we need to have them in order to proceed with our current project. So I'm gonna go and download the last release for both of those projects, for the server and for the client. I already have them in my desktop. That is my client and that is the server. So to replace the server, I'm just gonna delete the old server and let me extract this one here and use this one as my new server manager. And also for the client in the Unity editor, I could go ahead and import and choose the package I have downloaded and easily replace this. Now I can go ahead and open my server project. If I go to the terminal script, let's change the port back to the 7777 and change the database name to whatever name you want. I'm just going to use TPS, and also I am going to go to my databases folder and I'm just going to delete the old databases. Now, also here in the on-override matchmaking, I am going to just return 2 teams, 1 player per team. And for our Netcode server path, here inside the terminal, there is a region called extensions. I'm going to use that, but I'm gonna do that after I build the server. So for now, I am going to go back to the Unity editor. Here, in order to add a new character, we need a new character model. So I've already downloaded a new model and I am going to first drag my bot character that I have. And after that, I am going to bring the model that I've downloaded for this soldier. So let's start adding the necessary changes. So if we take a look at the bot, it is going to be controlled by this animator controller. So let's go ahead and assign the controller to the new character and let's uncheck apply root motion. And also I am going to create a ragdoll for my new character. Let's go ahead, and that is the head of our character. That should be the pelvis, and let's choose that as the middle spine. The right elbow, right arm. The same thing for the left elbow and left arm. And for the foot, we're gonna do the same thing. That is the right foot, knee and hips. The same thing for the left one. We're gonna assign all of those and create the ragdoll. So you could adjust the radius of your colliders if you want based on your character. So now we're gonna add the components on our new character. So we have a character controller, copy component, paste component as new. Back to the bot, we have a third person controller. Let's copy that and bring this for the new character as well. And it is going to add the player input automatically. So let's also attach the starter assets input. I'm gonna do the same thing for that one. And let's see what else we have. We also have a rig manager. So copy component and paste component as new. Back to the bot character, we have a rig builder. I'm gonna copy that, paste it for my new character, and back to the components, we have network object. So let's do that for our new character as well. And finally, the character script. And last one is client network transform. So we brought all those components here, but these components have some references to our old character. So we need to fix those. Let's unpack the old character first because we want to drag some game objects to our new character. Let's start with the weapon holder. I am going to bring that under the right hand of my new character. And let's reset. And let's see, we also have a left hand target which comes with that. So let's see what else we have here in the soldier. we have a camera root, which we can just drag it under the new character. Let's see what else we have. We have some references in the rig manager. So let's just bring all the rig data here and let's reset the position for that one. It's also going to bring the other components, and that is the rig. And I think that's it. We can simply go ahead and delete the old character, and we have a new character now. So let's go to the character script and give it an ID. I'm just going to choose soldier for the ID. Now in the prefabs folder, we have characters. We can drag it here as an original prefab. And also let's go to the playground scenes. Here we have some managers that are for our gameplay, but I want to separate the prefab manager from these managers because we want to have the prefab manager in the main menu as well. So I am going to unpack the managers. So I'm going to drag out the prefab manager. So in the prefabs, I am going to get rid of the managers, make a new prefab out of it. And also we could make a prefab out of prefab manager. So in the characters, we could also add the soldier character, and that should do it. Let's go back to the main scene here in the menu. Alright, we can get rid of the soldier now. We already made it a prefab. Let's go to the script. We have a script named tools. Let's open that. I'm going to add two new functions for fix angle of a float and a vector 3. And let's actually rename this to functions, because there's already a script named tools in the Realtime package. So back to the editor, I'm going to create a new script here and name it editor target. And inside the editor target, I am going to define a variable, call it character, and that's it. Let's save this and back to the editor. Here we go. Let's also create a folder and name it editor. And if we go to the rig manager, here in the awake function, I am going to check to see if left hand target is not null and we are in the editor. Then I'm gonna add the editor target to our left hand target. And let's go to the weapon and add a new struct of data. Well, let's actually do a class and name it rig data. It is going to be system serializable. And instead of all these 4 vector 3s, I'm going to remove them and add a list of rig data. So we're going to have a different position and rotation of the left and right hand for each character. And in order to get those values, we can create a bunch of functions here for left hand position, rotation, and right hand position and rotation, which basically all of them are the same. They're gonna get a string as a character, loop through the rig data, and if they find that character, they're gonna return the related variable. Otherwise, they're just gonna return 0. Also in the rig manager, we need to access the left hand target. So we can define a public getter for left hand target to return that. And inside the weapon, I am going to create a region for the editor. And here I am going to create a function, call it editor apply. So basically it's going to get the prefab, and if our application is playing and if we are in the editor, we're going to get the related character of this weapon and also the rig manager for it, and we're going to look for a rig data for this character ID. So if we find it, then we're going to save its index. Otherwise, we're just going to create a new rig data with that character ID, and at the end we are going to set the right hand position, rotation, and the same thing for the left hand position and rotation. For the right hand, the weapon position under the weapon holder. So this is the transform, which is basically the local position and Euler angle under the weapon holder. And for the left hand, we're going to use the rig manager left hand target position and rotation. And when we put it on the rig data, we are going to assign the prefab rig data and we are going to save it into the prefab. Now, if we go to the editor and we have some errors we can take care of. The first one is in the character in the initialize. So instead of right hand position, we're going to use the function right hand position that we've created. The same thing for the rotation, and for the ID we are going to pass the character ID. So we can go ahead and take care of the other errors as well. They are very similar, right hand position and rotation. And for the left hand we're gonna do the same. So let's take care of the other errors. Here they are, and rotation. Now the errors should be gone. Let's go to the editor folder, and here I'm going to create a new script, call it weapon editor, and this is going to be a custom editor for type of weapon. Also, it is going to inherit from the editor. So inside this I am going to define a private weapon, and inside on enable I am going to loop through all my prefabs and find a prefab for the selected weapon. Now inside on inspector GUI I am going to call editor apply for that weapon using the prefab that I have. Here I am going to create another custom editor for my editor target, and I'm going to do something similar. So I'm gonna define the weapon prefab, look for it inside my assets folder, and then on inspector GUI I am going to call editor apply for that weapon, and I'm going to pass the prefab. So basically all of this is for changing the weapon position and rotation and left hand position and rotation when we are playing in the editor. So any change we do during the runtime of our editor, it's going to directly be saved in the prefab. Now let's go to the editor, and I am going to get a build for my project. First I'm going to build for the server. I'm going to do it inside the Netcode server. Okay, that's our server build, which we are going to copy the path for it inside our real-time server. Here it is in the terminal, Netcode server executable path. So that is going to be my server address, tps.exe. So back to the editor, I'm going to switch to Windows platform, and let's double check the port number. Let's change it back to 7777. And I am going to now get a build for my Windows here inside the build folder. Here we go, that's our build for the client. First let's go ahead and start the real-time server. After that I am going to start the editor, and I'm going to start matchmaking. Also let's go to the build we got from our client, and this is our second player. I am also going to start matchmaking for this one, and we wait for the server to match them together. So here it is. As you can see, the weapon has been messed up, so we can fix that. Inside the editor, any change we do on the weapon is going to be saved. So I am going to keep the game running, and I go to the character in the scene. Let's go to this one here, and let's check out the weapon holder. So that's it, that's our weapon. If I go and change the position of this weapon and rotation of this weapon, it should directly be saved in the prefab. So for the rotation I'm gonna say 90 here, 180 there, and let's adjust it to the right hand. And for the left hand we need to change the position of the left hand target, which is the same target inside the rig manager left hand. Here it is, and the left hand target. So that's it. Basically we need to move that around, and even we can rotate it. So you could play around with the values and place it somewhere you like. So that's, I think, good enough. And that should have been directly saved into the prefab. So if I close the editor and also close this one, if we play the game again, the weapon position should be fixed. Now, before we do that, I noticed something, that my editor controls was not working. So let's go to the third-person controller script, and here in the start, when I'm getting the components, I am going to set the enabled of my player input to false inside the start, and inside the update, when I'm setting the initialize to true, I am going to set the enabled to true. Let's go and get another build for our client. I am going to place it in the build folder. So here it is. Let me play that. And we already have the server started, and previous Netcode server was closed. So that's good. Now let's also play the editor, and let's start matchmaking for both of them. They are matched. So that's my first client, and as you can see, the weapon in the hand now is fixed. We didn't copy and paste any values. That was just a headache for me, so I had to do it automatically. Now all you need to do in order to fix a weapon position, you just go to the editor and fix the position. It's going to be directly saved into the weapon position, and it's going to update the prefab. Well, everything looks good. I hope you enjoyed the video so far. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.